Oh, I do think that white people are absolutely jealous of black people, specifically with the community, and also with like fashion and music and everything else that is appropriated. But by design of what whiteness is, it inherently lacks community. And
I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed.
White people are obsessed with black people.
So I think we should all, as white women, just admit we're jealous of black women's.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from now. Tables are turning around in the US. A prediction has been given that the American empire is falling and the oppressor is being oppressed at the moment. Now, some of the white folks are worried with the fact that the black Americans are now doing well and they're excelling well in the US than the white folks. Let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Oh, I do think that white people are absolutely jealous of black people, specifically with the community, and also with like fashion and music and everything else that is appropriated. But by design of what whiteness is, it inherently lacks community. And I think we're absolutely jealous of that. And I've heard biracial people say that they do see that difference in their own families. Because in addition to European cultures being more individualistic than cultures from Africa, South America, and indigenous North American cultures, the invention of whiteness in America erased a lot of ties to actual culture. So when I say like white people, black community, I'm not talking about like Polish people or German people or Irish people. As I explained in my book, I just wrote the intro and I'm working on the conclusion today. Y'all keep me in your prayers. In the course of human history, white is a relatively new term. As we discussed in the introduction to this book, white is a North American term emerging from the 1600s as a term to justify the enslavement of Africans and squelch revolts from poor Europeans and indentured servants. Before this term, Europeans would identify with their nationalities. The Irish, Italians, Germans, French are all very different cultures. Thus, there is not the same communal tie to whiteness as there is for people from other communities. Further, since white was created to be a divider, a separator, it is not a happy identity. It is not something people want to admit they relate to. It doesn't have a rich, healthy history. Speaking as a white American who has conducted national level research on white Americans, we tend to say things like we have German, Irish, Italian, etc. ancestry, even if we have never been to those places. This is because all white Americans have ties to immigration, and because these identities are actual cultures, they do not have roots only in oppression. Now, we know who started colonization, right? So this is the book I'm trying to finish by Monday and send to the editor. There's a free chapter in my bio if you're interested on one of the unwritten rules of work. The book is predominantly about class, but I talk about 3 other identities that you can't talk about class without talking about these other identities, and race is absolutely one of them.
Pose the question, why do white people hate black people so much? I have been in situations where I've been surrounded by nothing but white people. And this conversation has come up. The race conversation has come up. And no one ever has an actual reason as to why they hate black people. There's always these, oh, black on black crime. Oh, they're lazy. Oh, they're this. But it's not actually, there's no legitimacy behind their reasoning. It's just shit that they've heard and they're regurgitating. And so, long story short, it really comes down to there is no reason. It's a deep-seated jealousy, a deep-seated hate that, you know, black people exude greatness. Black people are the great inventors. Black people are the beginning of the human race, the Eve gene. And white people have worked so hard to erase the history and erase the greatness of the black race. down to even when things are invented, the majority of things that are invented were invented by a black person. But yet the white race has actually erased the original inventor from history and have put their names on things that they had no business putting their name.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, you know, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, like, how much did white Americans actually do in all of that time? If we were to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by like nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges. And like, to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you like totally deny, the existence of black people for whom success is like second nature when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it. I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest black excellence? Like, what will help you? And for that, I would suggest like a lot of therapy, like a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history. Yeah, maybe? Okay, bye!
Racism is about jealousy. If you think that's a reductive statement, please stick with me. When I say jealousy, I'm talking about insecurity, which is really what jealousy is, but I think it's easier to understand if I say insecurity rather than just jealousy. Because we know from appropriation that we are very jealous of other cultures. Why would we want to listen to the music, eat the food, wear the clothes, do the hairstyles, have everything, the language, but not give credit where credit is due and not uplift the people who created it? White people are so lost in feeling like they don't have a connection to culture, especially many of us who are very far removed from our European roots. And I think the need to fill that space and that insecurity of this lack of culture and lack of something to call our own is often filled with cultural appropriation and the idea that being white is superior. I was first introduced to this concept of racism being jealousy in college, and I can't trace it back to one particular scholar, but I would like to give credit where credit is due to that black scholar. If you can find anything tracing it to one particular person, please leave that in the comments. I think it's important to think about racism in this way if we want to unlearn it. Because, as some people say who are non-monogamous, or anyone who's just working on their relationships, jealousy is an indicator that something is not quite right with us. It's an indicator of our insecurity and how we might be feeling. It's not about what our partner is doing or what someone on Instagram is doing with their life that makes us feel inadequate. It's about something going on inside. And I think we really need to interrogate that. What is it about people of color showing excellence, people of color maybe being more in touch with culture, people of color being more in touch with the environment, people of color making better food, and everything else that we envy? What does that trigger in us? And why do we have the need to put those people down? It's about jealousy. And if we can figure out that we're feeling that way and trace that feeling back to maybe some of our unconscious biases, I think it's a lot easier to start thinking about how can we unlearn that? how can I feel secure in my identity as a white person who has roots in maybe Italian and like other cultures, but like doesn't really feel connected to anything? How can I feel secure in myself to not want to put others down, whether that be racism or any other form of discrimination, or just plain hating on another woman because she's amazing? You know, I think this makes it seem like racism is very simple, but it also just helps us frame it in a way that's accessible to us. We know that dismantling racism starts with individual work, and personal growth is all about thinking about the hard things about yourself and the things and parts of yourself that you don't like. And jealousy is one of those things. No one wants to be jealous. It's an awful, awful feeling. And we don't want to admit that we're jealous. And we shy away from that, but it's something we can interrogate, and I think that is going to help us go a long way. Anyway, just my thoughts. Happy Juneteenth. I hopefully will speak about this more coherently in the future. Black Lives Matter.
I'm in these non-toxic groups on Facebook where people live non-toxic lives, and we're looking for non-toxic recommendations for the products that we use. And I made a Facebook post, this was a while back, and I was like, I'm looking for Black-owned non-toxic hair product recommendations for my entire family who has various hair types. And my post was just met with so many white women who are like, that's racist. Why are you looking for Black owned? I'm telling you, this post got endless comments full of hatred. Like, it just kept coming and coming and coming. We support Black businesses to get rid of the racial wealth gap. Like, it's seriously the least that you can do. It's the easiest thing that you can do. So I was like talking with these people in the comments, and they're coming at me and they're attacking me. And it brought out a side of me that I'm not proud of, because I called them what they were. And basically, my entire post got taken down. And so I didn't get any answers. But if this isn't a really good example of how white people don't want Black people to succeed, I don't know what is. And so if you have any good recommendations for non-toxic products in general that are Black owned, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, because I did get a couple of answers, but the post got taken down so suddenly that I couldn't write them down. And then some that we found that we ended up trying just didn't work out the way that we hoped. We have hair types ranging from 4A to C and hair like mine. But I'm always looking for Black-owned businesses that I can support in general, and products that are non-toxic are a big plus.
Bingo. Clocked it. Because ultimately, this is why I find it so incredibly important to decenter whiteness from your queerness, no matter what you are, Black, white, brown, whatever you are. And this is why I found it extremely difficult to maintain and sustain friendships with white queer people, because there is this constant like self-victimization that is laughable. It's like you'll be in a conversation and you'll be like, hey, like, I'm dealing with XYZ because of my marginalized identity. They'll be like, well, I'm also dealing with XYZ. And you'll be like, okay. You're just venting to them. You're literally just being a friend. You're venting, and you're saying, well, I couldn't pay my rent. Well, I couldn't pay my rent in 2003, so it's like, okay, girl. Literally try to play this game that you didn't even realize you were playing. And the wild part about it is every single time you see that like light of curiosity and spark in their eyes, the moment they feel like they can like be friends with a person of color. And this is like truly, I've seen this in lots of like white queer women, almost as if they're like the white queer Thanos, and they got one of their Infinity Stones the moment they get a person of color as a friend, because they like latch on and they're like, how can I suck from the host? Like, how can I try to one-up you and play Oppression Olympics every single moment, every single opportunity that I get? It is It's scary. And this is why it's so dangerous to be a person of color that is queer. Because what happens is we see danger, right? Like as humans, we know how to find danger. We know how to see danger. The problem with white queer people is they will be the danger that was lurking there the whole time and you had no clue. You'll be 3-4 years into a friendship only to find out, oh, you didn't like me. I was just one of your infinity stones for your virtue signaling for your potluck. Oh. And like the older I get and the more into my queerness and my queer journey I get, the more I can clock those like red flags. But it is very it's very debilitating. It's very painful. It's very hurtful. But yes, the jealousy is absolutely there. Clocked it.
Man, what is up with the obsession of black people, dog?
How do you think if you eat watermelon and drink grape Kool-Aid, you're more likely to somebody?
I don't think that's a true statistic.
It's true. It's true.
Are you trying to make stereotypes?
What's a stereotype?
No comment.
Talking about fully unprovoked. I'm pretty sure this man has never had a interaction with black people to begin with. Since you want to talk about statistics, let's go there. So white males make up 31% of America. Yet they make up 71% of child acts. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all know what I mean by this. And this is actually facts instead of the 1350 rule, which I broke down. You can go check that out. Like, this is real deal facts. And I didn't even mention the comments, bro. Like, when people say racism don't exist, go into these videos and look at the comment section, bro. It'd be people with no profile picture. Just imagine how many of these people are doctors, lawyers. You know, these are their burner accounts. They really feel like this about us. So, especially my black people that be coming here to my, oh, I don't see race. They see it, motherfucker. The obsession with black people is extremely weird.
I've seen videos of people talking about, you know, some white women actually believe that no black woman can be prettier than them. Like, they actually believe, like, no black woman can be prettier than them. Only reason why I don't believe that is because a lot of white women, not all, but a majority of white women are very envious and jealous and always in this one-sided competition with black women. They have always been like that. It's been like that since the beginning of time, y'all. Since the beginning of time. Everywhere I go, people stare at me. People call me pretty. People compliment me. But white girls, they will stare at me. They just have a nasty look on their face. They won't say nothing to me. A few of them will walk up to me and be like, you're just so pretty. You're so gorgeous. But a lot of them will look at me and just have this nasty look on their face. And I know it's jealousy. I know they're jealous. I just watched this video yesterday. It was a Black history lesson someone was talking about, and it was basically saying how black women way back when used to wear their hair in like these gorgeous big poofy hairstyles with beads and like feathers in their hair and everything like that. And white women were so jealous and so intimidated, so bothered by the hair on another person's head, they went and made a petition. This is in Louisiana. They wrote a petition to the governor, and the governor ended up banning black women from wearing their hair out in public because it was intimidating and, you know, making the white women jealous, essentially. I don't know if you guys remember, but like if you look back in the Victorian times where they used to wear those big poofy dresses and the backside of them dresses were big as hell. Excuse my language. Guess who inspired that? A black woman that was kidnapped from Africa and held in a cage as a freak show, and that was forced to act like an animal and do weird stuff in a circus. Same reason why white women go and get lipo now, because they want lips like this. Lips that I was made fun of for having. This is the reason why they want to go get BBLs. Why? Because black women is a blueprint of the Coke bottle shape. One of the reasons why they get self-tanner. I thought being white as can be was a good thing. Now you want to make yourself bronze. Now you want a little melanin. It's so obvious, y'all. Like, and it's not just racism. It's jealousy. It's envy. That's another reason why these white women will go and purposefully get with these self-hating, colorist black men. I ain't never seen a white woman try to go after a Malcolm X kind of dude. Most likely because a Malcolm X kind of dude ain't gonna want to date him. I ain't never seen a white woman try to, you know, date a black dude that always talks about how he loves black women or has made statements, you know, about black women, how much he loves black women. I see these white women go out and get these whitewashed black men who do nothing but talk trash about black women and how black women this, how black women that, and this black and that black. They purposely go and get with these black men because it's a boost of their ego, because they know, okay, this black man hates himself, which means he hates his people. He doesn't like black women. He feels some type of way about them. So by me getting with him, it's like I get a one up on the black woman. I get a one up on her. They're always in these secret competitions with black women. So you wonder why they're microaggressive to us. You wonder why they always catch these small attitudes. You wonder why they always feel some type of way and looking at you crazy, baby girl, because they're jealous. They're jealous because they know they can't compete where they don't compare. It's jealousy, and it's all a mind game. They will do anything they can to get in our heads and to mess with us, and then try to go and cry and play victim. That's why I don't be phased. I'll be walking around with my head up high. I know they be staring at me. I know they be looking at me. I don't even pay them no mind. I walk right past them. Won't move out of their way or nothing. They're envious. It's been like that since the beginning of time.
I have a theory about why black women and white women are having such a hard time getting along, and it starts with a story. When I first started teaching, I was in a teacher training program with 3 other women. 2 of them were black and 1 of them was Indian, and we started teaching at the same school, the same grade, at the same time. One of these women, a black woman, completely excelled. She did so much better than I did at literally everything. Classroom management, her test scores were high. She was excellent at literally everything. And something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel good about it. It was internalized racism, but I didn't know that yet. So I had to sit with this idea of her being better than me and trying to figure out why it didn't feel good and feel comfortable for me. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that I needed to do the work of anti-racism, so I didn't think it was possibly because I could have internalized racism. I had to do a lot of study and thought about myself and what could possibly be making me feel this way about this woman. And here's what I discovered. Most of the media that I had consumed up to that point in my life had white people as the central characters. And the shows and other media that I consumed that had white women at the central characters often had black women as the side characters. These black women's role in these movies was to assist the white women, support the white women, advise the white women, but never to rise above the white women. Even shows that were about black women, like The Help, had white women as the central character and the black women as supporting characters. So I internalized the idea that black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders. Society has forced them to become leaders. And so we need to step aside and let them lead, even if it means checking our privilege and letting them lead us.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Now, since a very long time, the white community has enjoyed supremacy. It has enjoyed privileges for being white. Now, let's now focus on the other issue that some of the white folks are now obsessed with the black community's success. Some of them are even shocked with the fact that the same black community they thought will never come out being strong, it is now strong. Let's now figure out how things are unfolding very fast in the black community. The black community has suffered in the hands of a very oppressive system for a very long time. Now, imagine starting with martyrs like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so many others who were taken down because of being a black voice. Now, this is why I usually say that whenever they had a black voice, they kind of silenced the black voice, you know. Black folks worked for many years without being paid, not even a single penny. They worked as slaves. Now, most of the people by that time thought that this community will one day perish after being used. You know, they segregated them from their schools, from their businesses, from many other things that are very crucial in the society. But later on, the black community has come out to achieve greatness. We are seeing a number of them doing very well in this hard economy. And this is one of the things that has been shocking some of those racist white people or any other group that has been against them. Now, let me give a disclaimer. I do not support any type of racism or segregation in this channel. We duly focus to bring you the best content which does not favor people because they belong to a certain color or whatever. We are here to say the truth which white America has always hidden from the world, that the truth that you've been denied to know, that the media has always edited the truth to tell you stories that you want to hear, not the things that really matter in this era that we live in. Now, we have seen a lot of white folks coming out to say how much they have been jealous of the black success. And you might ask yourself, why are they so sad, or why are they so pissed with the fact that the black community is doing well than them? Now, let's figure it out in this way. In the 2024 election, most people went to vote maybe against some races. They wanted to see these races suffering or being deported. Later on, a number of Latinos were deported, even those who voted for the same system. Now, a conversation was online that Donald Trump was bringing slavery back to the US. And later on, a conversation also arose saying that they voted in this way because they wanted to see the black community going back to slavery, going back to work in the farms because they are believed to be doing the dirty jobs. Now, it has been almost 1 year since Donald Trump was elected or re-elected as the president, the 47th president of the US. Now, see at the things that are happening. Look at the economy. Most of those who are complaining are the same white folks who went to vote for the same government. The same people who thought that suffering was not for them. The same people who thought that voting for a president who is from their race will save them from collapsing, He was going to save them and bail out the bankruptcy they were going to experience. Some of them voted while they were good, financially, but they're now filing for bankruptcy. And one of the most shocking things is that the Donald Trump administration bailed out some Mexicans, leaving out Americans who voted. This is raising concerns, and they are now asking themselves questions if they made the right decision. And some of them are even wondering why the black community is very silent and doing well when the economy is collapsing. Now, this is whatever I have to say to you. You've had a cultural influence, and you've been told how much you're supreme. You've been told all the privileges belong to you. You've not understood one point. However much you get privileges, now this reduces your productivity, since you always know that even if I go bankrupt, there is a system which will favor me to come back strong, or the system will bail me out. Unlike those black folks who have to work extra hard because maybe in one way or the other, they might not receive loans or being bailed out. Now, later on, this teaches you, or this makes you kind of relaxed, because you always know there is a system that will come to provide, or a system that will come to bail you out, or to make you not to go bankrupt. Now, the same system is not now doing whatever it was meant to do for you. The system is busy doing things that do not concern you. You voted to see other people suffer. You are not ready. The black community has long since endured a lot of atrocities in the US and across Europe. This has hardened them, and the little they have, they can really succeed with that. It is them who go 3 to 4 shifts, 2 to 3 shifts a day to make a living. So you expect such kind of people not to be affected by economy that much because they are used to all these bad things happening to them. The bad thing with being privileged is the fact that it makes you not think outside the box. You always think that the government should be a savior of your problems, and it should always be there to solve every iniquity, every problem that you have, and it should always be there to protect you from all the things you do. Now, if, however, you make a mistake, you've realized that these governments have been offering you solutions. If only you belong to a given race. And this started way back during the Jim Crow laws, when they were very functional in the US and across many other states. Now, don't you forget that these are the things that have made you relax. And whenever you get a problem, you can't endure it without making noise online. You can't sit down and just see someone else succeeding. This is something that needs to be called out. I'm not here to teach you how to relate or how to live, but I'm here to tell you that every empire will one day collapse. That there has no ever been an empire that has lived forever. Empires do have an end. Empires always collapse. You must be very careful when you depend or when you want the same system that oppresses others to act to your advantage and to give you privileges. Remember this. There comes a time when the oppressed will become the oppressor, and the oppressor becomes the oppressed. This is very subjective in this way. When you have a king who is very ruthless with the people, what do? They always want to remain in power for all their life. You have a president who maybe in one way or the other is oppressing others. They always to remain in power because they think if something happens and they seize power, that someone else will come and start oppressing them because they always have the oppressive mentality. You, the oppressor today, thinks that you're being oppressed. Tables do turn around. They say if you go to dig a grave for someone, maybe remember to dig too because you might all go down. Or remember to dig and to your favorite spot because it might as well be you who is going down there. So this is whatever I mean, brothers and sisters. When you go to vote, don't vote out of emotions. Don't vote to punish someone else. Vote because this vote is going to help you, your children, and the coming generations. Don't vote for 3 or 4 coming years. Vote for an eternal change in your life and those people close to you. That's whatever happened. And most of the people now are raged and are coming out with a lot of confession, how they are now obsessed with the black success. The same people they thought they could have been deported some months ago. The same people they thought they were not going to bear the hard situations, hard economic times in the US. Because most of them have had the economic power for a very long time. You know, that black economic progress has threatened systems. The systems that always did set standards for races that lived in the US. The fact that they have beaten all odds to achieve at the top without much complaints, keeping quiet and grinding, making sure that everything they get is accounted for. Every penny they get in the night shifts they do and all other jobs is accounted for. And saving this and becoming more successful and having so much excellence, both politically, economically, socially, it's something that is worrying most of the people who downplayed the power of the black community. How I wish from now onwards we might want to learn from the same mistakes that you made, you the oppressor. Learn from their mistakes, because I've seen greater and very wise people saying that maybe the American empire might collapse or is collapsing. Every empire has its own end. See how China and Russia dominating the world organizations, all the world order. They are now calling for shots. And guess who is stressed? Guess who is not taking this well? Your guess is as well as mine. So what do you do when you see an empire collapsing, an empire that you live in? You take notice, you take note, and start acting prudently. Start uniting with your brothers and sisters. Stop acting with so much rage, and stop acting with so much anger and hatred. We are one people, and that's always whatever matters a lot. Thank you so much for having taken this time to watch this video. I really appreciate for the engagement. I really appreciate for you reaching this point, for watching this video. Let's keep on calling for unity. Let's keep on stopping inequality and promoting whatever is humanly. Have a very good time, brothers and sisters.